Hi there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, the follow-up video on anarcho-communist versus anarcho-capitalist. And today I'd like to touch upon not property rights just yet, or getting deeply involved into the issue of capitalism, but I just wanted to make up a follow-up video given to the responses that I've received on my first video by the same name. And there seems to be a lot of confusion as to, epistemological confusion and concept formation when it comes to understanding anarchism, and communists who would claim the title of anarcho-communists. And people are trying to get their heads around this, and it took me a little while thinking about it as well. And all this confusing philosophical verbiage being thrown at people, it can kind of short-circuit the mind and the thinking processes and trying to get the head around. And there's been a lot of confusion and frustration, and I've sensed that from a couple of posts. Not so much in the sense of like disagreeing with me or being angry, but people just trying to get their heads around this whole thing of anarcho-capitalism, and especially in regards to anarcho-communism. It's just like it just seems like saying I'm a theistic atheist, right? Or I'm an atheist and I believe in the supernatural. So there's there's a lot of confusion. So I just want to offer you some tidbits of observations. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. And I think I pretty much are sorting through the jigsaw puzzle of putting it all together. So I did get like this one response. This is like, I just don't understand it. Anarchism means no government, and communism means big government. So what the hell are they talking about when they say anarcho-communist? What the hell is that? Once again, it's like saying I'm an atheist, but I believe in the supernatural. It's like, what? So I can just tell you up front, after some considerable thinking about it and reading and checking into it, I pretty much came to the conclusion that so-called anarcho-communists are not anarchists. In fact, they're statists. They're just statists. Now, I would suggest to you, I would put it to you, that they are merely old-fashioned communists who are adopting a new verbal guise. And they're trying to, communism has had its time, it's had its bloody disaster and its imprint on the 20th century, its 70 years reign of bloodshed and plunder and destruction. And nobody's, too eager, especially among the intelligentsia and their minions, are not too eager to embrace, just old-fashioned, communism, to say, hey, I'm a communist. Very few people would do that. So I guess they want to take a hold of the spirit, the revolutionary spirit that is taking place today, that is questioning government, and they're coming up with the new guise of anarcho-communists. That's basically where they're coming from. Now, of course, there were original, anarcho-communists of yonder, of years back, like Proudhon, who wrote What is Property, and Property is Theft. I do understand that, of course, but here's the thing: is that anarcho-communists of yonder, of years back, who wrote voluminously on this subject, what they objected to was not so much statism and government and the abolition of government per se, government by which I mean a ruling class, a ruling elite. What they opposed was what they designated as state capitalism. So let me put it to you this way: to say that you're a Democrat and you're against government, that might sound very confusing to a lot of people, right? But let's just say that if you didn't regard the Republicans as any kind of form of legitimate government whatsoever, and you just thought that they hijacked the government. In fact, they are not the government. They hijacked an ideal, and so therefore they're boo-hiss. They have to go, and you have to institute a democratic government. Well, then you would not necessarily designate yourself as an anarcho-democrat. But that's the idea here, is that to be against, to adopt anarchism as far as the communist is concerned, and what you would be opposed to would be not a centralized power in a planned economy. It would be that you're against state capitalism, and that's why they cling to this title of anarcho-communist. So this confusion about, like, I don't understand it. Communism means no government, or means big government. Well, yeah, it does mean big government, right? So the anarcho part is their opposition to state capitalism. So when they make certain observations, these anarcho-communists, and they look at big business and government in bed with each other, and they throw out the baby with the bath water, because they just consider it all one big flushed mess. It's all the same thing. It's all big business, captains of industry, corporatism, and big government in bed together. So the whole thing's got to go. So there's this intellectual package deal. So therefore, boo-hiss property rights and boo-hiss capitalism. So what right do you have to call yourself an anarchist if you're for capitalism and property rights? So that's basically the gist of it. So they do not oppose a centrally planned economy or a coercive monopoly over the use of force and the freedom of the individual. What they oppose is property rights, profit motive, capitalism, which can exist without a state. But they think that, no, it all comes in one neat little package. They're inseparable. It's indivisible. To speak of one is to speak of the other. Well, no, that is not the case at all whatsoever. So, but like I say, in regards to property rights and capitalism, I will talk about that in the next video. But I just wanted to offer some clarification as to why there is this confusion that people have trying to get their head around the very idea of anarcho-communism. Like no government and yes, government. So understandable confusion. It kind of like knocked me off a little bit trying to figure it out, but I came to that conclusion. Now, just to flesh it out even a little bit further, as an artist, I'm a painter. Some of you know that. Maybe most of you do know that. I've been a part of, hippie communes and such. I've partaked in camping and going on expeditions, and have been part of communes where everybody throws in their collective efforts and nobody has any kind of job title. One person doesn't hire the other. There's not a profit motive. You are throwing in all your collective efforts into one pot and maintaining the commune, and you all trade with each other in the sense of that, or you all work together for a common purpose. You're growing food and you're doing some carpentry and things like that, and but even there was private property. There was no such thing as a communal toothbrush. Everybody had their own toothbrush, but so in that sense there was property, and understand too that property rights or property does not just mean land or factories. It's from a pencil to toenail clippers to toothbrushes. Whatever the object is that was created and paid for, it's private property. But in this commune, though, in this hippie kind of commune, there was a sort of socialism. There was a socialism. But the thing, though, was that it was voluntary. You understand that. It was voluntary. So the anarcho-communist, when he speaks of communism and the abolition of private property and such as that, he doesn't mean that it's going to be a voluntary thing, whereas pockets of people, if they so choose to decide to live that way, no, this is something that everybody has to be on board with, and if you're not going to be a part of it, we'll just have to use force. No, Mr. Factory Owner, you cannot have your factory employ people. No, you just can't. You can't reap the profits that you do and negotiate and decide on what wages to pay and so forth. No, everybody has to be a part of the grand so-called anarcho, right? Communism. So obviously compulsion and violation of the non-aggression principle will take place, because they're placing other things much more important than the non-aggression principle. They consider it so horrific, this idea of private property, and capitalism, in the sense, in the profit motive, is so horrendous as being coercive and monopolistic or whatnot. So what they're going to do to enact to enforce this value that they consider so important, that if the little thing called the non-aggression principle, which is against physical force, if that's going to get in the way of what they consider to be more vile, which is, let's say, exploitation, physical force is in, baby. It's in the picture. Because if people aren't going to voluntarily join this commune, this hippie anarcho-communist society, then force has to be enacted, because they placed one good, one virtue, anti-exploitation, above the non-aggression principle. Now, this is a lot to get your head around. That's why I'm doing a series of videos. I'm not saying that exploitation, even in the Marxist sense, is a good thing. But I have to take this one thing at a time. I just wanted to offer this much of an observation and to let you digest that much. Thank you so much for listening. Victor Pross, Anarcho-capitalist, signing out. Pop goes the culture.